Hello and welcome to, I believe this is session 20, since we didn't do our last session 20, of Abandon Hope. Aiden is not with us today because, we just have a fantastic computer repair place that he's trying to deal with. We'll see what happens to Slash this session. As for everyone else, we just got done with all our holiday season Christmas stuff, and I know we're all raring to get back into a cave full of barrels full of who knows what. Yeah. So yeah, who can tell me, aside from the existence of the barrels, what happened last session?
We discussed with the definitely a goblin, but also not a goblin. We discussed with the bone serpent, and he led us down the pit, which was full of trash and little fish things, which I believe we killed all the fish. I think that happened. I think we ruined the ecosystem.
I believe so, yes.
It sounds like something we do.
Possessed them, I think.
Yes, that's right. One by one.
Yes.
So we trashed an ecosystem just on our way through, because that's what we do. And then there was hallucinogenic moss that Ivor is somehow completely immune to repeatedly, and thinks everyone else is crazy. And then we found a bunch of barrels with, it looked like meat inside. I'm not sure if we discovered what the meat inside was.
No one touched them. They just kind of left them to do their meaty bidding.
We vaguely wondered if people were turned into meat in this prison, but we have not confirmed that yet, and there's another door to go through that Ivor suggested we take a look elsewhere before trying to experiment on this meat.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. There was a lot of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember if anything more of a note happened at the end of last session. I think we just kind of broke off. So there is another tunnel on the other side of the cavern over here. If I can remember how to ping. I cannot remember how to ping. There we go.
I forget, are the barrels with the flesh or without the flesh?
Those are the ones with the flesh. They're all filled with a kind of purpley viscous liquid with a little, like, kneecap sort of looking thing floating at the very top. It's just like a little dome of flesh. Just cresting.
I recall a guard was alluded to but not found.
I don't remember that.
I think he mentioned there being a guard, didn't he?
I don't think so.
I think we mentioned searching for guards but not finding any.
That sounds right. Each of the barrels was in a little hut that had a door that was not locked on either side.
The bone serpent told us there will be guards eventually, but we have not come across any yet.
Yes, that is correct.
That's what I meant when I said alluded to.
Well, I just didn't understand you, so that's clearly your fault, and not mine at all.
Your fault. My bad.
Oh, and the goblin is very unconscious. The potato orphan, I think, was dragging it along. I can't remember if the potato orphan was also unconscious.
I think I was carrying the goblin, was I not?
That sounds right. So yeah, what do you do? And yes.
Are the empty barrels, are they empty, or do they have the purple goo in them?
They have the purple goo in them.
You should drop the goblin in there and see what happens.
Should you? Do you say this to your companions?
Yes.
I am not big fan of Goblin, but I am also not big fan of wasting Goblin on this experiment. We need him as a prisoner in trade for the prisoner we are getting out of here.
Do you think they'll take a trade like that?
The Bone Serpent seemed to think so.
Can we, like, put a piece of him in there? He
I
doesn't
am not
eat all of them.
certain. Can we ask the Bone Serpent if our prisoner must be whole?
What form is Slash currently in?
Slash might be a ghost. I don't think he possessed anything. Yeah, he's sitting here as a ghost. He says, "What? What are you wanting me to do?" And also, are you in the tunnel, Wendelorn, or are you in the room? Or the cave, I should say.
I'm probably in the cave. I'm not sure
Okay.
why I'm out there.
We'll say the potato orphan's standing in the, just immediately in the tunnel. Because I'm too lazy to move it. So Slash says, "What do you want me to do?"
Well, I was wondering if we could put Slash into the blue goo, but apparently he's not in a corporeal form.
Well, no, but he could go into one of the occupied barrels and kind of investigate whatever life form is in there.
This is true.
Right. He looks uncertainly at the barrel, and then he shrugs and he dives into it. He'll dive into this one over here. And he is going to need to make a roll. Just give me one moment for that. Slash, after a few moments, so he dives into the barrel. The liquid starts frothing, and the mound of flesh starts kind of twitching, and then Slash kind of pings out of the barrel and somehow impacts the wall. Maybe just because he thinks that's the kind of thing you do to a wall, is bounce off it when you go flying toward it. Who knows? And he drifts down to the floor and gets back up and he says, "Yeah, I couldn't get into it. It was just some guy. It didn't seem terribly magic or anything. He just wouldn't let me in."
Some guy.
Yeah, like he wasn't a god or anything. Not like when I got in your head.
Definitely alive in there.
Oh yeah. It was weird though. In the kind of room that was in his head, he looked like he had a kind of like a tentacle or something coming from his nose. Other than that, he just looked like a person. He didn't seem to like me being there though.
This is unsettling.
Would you mind having a look at one of the other ones?
Sure. He goes down to this one. He dips a toe in as though testing the temperature. And then he kind of just slithers into the liquid. That was not supposed to be a charisma save. That was supposed to be a charisma check. It doesn't matter because he doesn't have proficiency. Oh dear. There is a distinct mental impression of a slap to the face that just kind of brushes against each of your psyches. And he comes flying through the side of the barrel, and this time passes through other barrels before sort of landing a few inches from the floor. He gets back up. Says, "Yeah, that was about the same. That guy was a little bit stronger, though. He had really, really big hands." I don't know if he really does, but, in his mind he did.
Really big hands.
Yeah, the other guy didn't. I don't think all of them have them. He had the same kind of thing coming from his nose, though.
Well, this is just getting stranger and stranger.
So the thing going into their noses, that's like going into their metaphysical spiritual nose or their actual physical nose.
I don't know, I guess. It could be either one, I guess. I didn't see their real body. I'm guessing the real body's in the barrel. But, you can't see it through the stuff in it. The Slash possesses a rock, and he is going to possess the rock to draw on the floor. He's just kind of scrape a picture of what the noses look like.
We established that he could possess inanimate objects.
Yes, I believe that was one of the very first things I said regarding the ghosts.
Does the nose appear larger than usual on the faces?
Yes.
Are they all gnomes then? Is this just the natural state of gnomes in this universe? Just
I
exist
can
in
neither
barrels?
confirm nor deny. And that's the picture that he draws for you.
I like that he included the eyelashes.
Eyelashes and eyebrows.
So this is a gnome or a goblin?
Well, no, it's definitely not a goblin. Like, you're carrying around a goblin. It doesn't look like that. Slash doesn't know what it is.
The other one looked the same?
No.
Yes, it's just one of them had really big hands.
This is a much bigger tentacle than I assumed at first. Thank you for this drawing.
You're welcome, says the rock.
I was not prepared for that.
Yeah, Slash, let's see. Slash is going to do a nature check. Yeah, Slash has no idea. He says it was kind of like a really big earthworm, kind of. The tentacle was. It was less like a squid's tentacle. He's fought squids before.
So both prisoners are the same species?
Yes, as far as he's aware.
Call what is the prisoner that we're looking for?
You received basically no information. Ostensibly, you'll receive more when you get closer to him. Maybe. The bone serpent seemed mildly fuzzy on the details.
Well, as all this is, it may serve us well to just progress a bit and perhaps come back to this later when we have context.
I agree.
So you move on, dragging the goblin behind you?
Well, I was carrying him, not dragging him.
Okay. Right, if you guys continue on, You will, before terribly much longer, come to a fork in the path. One of them's a little thinner. One of them's a little wider.
Thank God you labeled them.
Yes, it's a very important detail. There are no metaphorical and allegorical markings on the paths to tell you which one is the right path, I'm afraid. They both look pretty much identical to you.
Well, one is a left path, so the other must be the right path.
That's big brain
That's
moment
great.
right there.
That's flawless.
The wider path looks like it's been tread a bit more than the other one, I suppose. There are footprints that might just be the footprints of any medium humanoid creature wearing floppy shoes, I suppose. Moccasins, kind of.
Can we see any further down either path, or is that as far as we can see?
And it's a mildly windy, cavey tunnels. So no. Looks like someone may have... I say someone. Looks like there's a bit of refuse down the wider path.
Does anybody have a preference?
I still say we take the right path.
Okay.
What say the rest of you?
I whistle to the orphan to follow.
Impultiert, says the orphan.
Did anyone bring the goblin?
I'm carrying it.
Oh.
And Slash just kind of trails along behind. You can maybe have Slash possess the goblin. It might kill the goblin, but you know, it's a possibility. You continue down the path. About, I don't know, a 12-minute walk later, you see the opening into a larger clearing, a cavern. And you see here, goodness, what do these notes mean of mine? It opens up into quite a wide cavern. And you see a bit of clearing of cave. The ceiling is about as high here as other places. There is no moss here. There are bits of moss here and there, but it looks like they've been regularly scraped and cleared away. And you see a fence. A fence perhaps 12 feet high, of metal spars and metal wire dragged across them, which is mildly surprising. You haven't really seen metal crafting down here yet. And there are humanoids here and there, and I don't have a token for them, so here we go.
In the fence? Part of the
Yeah,
fence?
more or less.
Dead humanoids.
Well, no, they're living. They're medium-sized humanoids. They have no hair. They are clearly the race that Slash described. They're wearing loincloths, moccasins, and these kind of like look like woolen shawls around their shoulders, and little like woolen knitted bracelets on their arms. And they have, I mean, what you as the players know as elephant trunks, which your characters may or may not recognize. I don't know if you've ever seen an elephant or a trunked mammal before, but these humanoids are using their trunks to just grip onto the fence, and they're doing like gymnastics and very complicated aerial maneuvers and acrobatics using the fence as an exercise mechanism. They seem completely engrossed in this and do not seem to notice you approach. You are about 20 feet from the edge of the fence to the entrance. They're making high-pitched grunting noises of exertion. There is a door in the fence. Sorry, 1 second. There is a clearly locked, latched door in the fence.
Is there space to either side of the fence, or is there a wall there?
It goes to the wall.
The cavern extends beyond the fence? Like,
It does, yes. As best as you can tell.
okay.
So it is time to kill more innocent creatures who aren't doing anything wrong?
I mean, I'd prefer you didn't. Slash says, yeah, that's what they looked like. Their hands look normal, though.
Hey,
Are you calling out to the fence?
no,
Okay. I thought you said hi.
no. Wendorn, would you like to go say hi?
I don't know if I speak their language.
You may recall, Wendelorn, I believe the snake might have told you that you'll be able to speak the languages of any ordinary creature you come across.
Wendorn wasn't paying attention.
He was probably writing
Wendelorn
something
is
important in his
very
book.
forgetful. So Wendelorn will wave at them and say hi.
One of them hears this. He twists around and comes to a stop kind of upside down in the air, his trunk gripping the fence behind him. He just looks at you and doesn't speak. He raises his eyebrows, which I suppose makes them go toward the floor. And says, you... I say he doesn't speak, but I suppose I lied. Says, you're not from around here. How did you get in?
I think we came down a hole.
I thought we filled all the holes. We have been neglecting our duties. Or the young'uns have been neglecting their duties, I suppose. They're the ones who are supposed to take care of all that. Well, you don't belong down here. Off you go.
Where should we go?
Back through the hole you came from. There's nothing good for you here, sir.
If nothing comes down the hole, why do you have such a big fence?
Well, it's for recreation. Do you not see our recreation? And yes, the little green people sometimes find their way down here, and well, That's not very pleasant for anyone involved. Usually they make their own holes, though.
Notice the one I'm carrying.
He does not seem to notice the one you're carrying at the moment, no. Some of the others look in your general direction, but they, I don't know if they just notice that you're already being helped and go back to their recreation or what, but in any event, they have little inherent interest in these interlopers that are you.
I'm going to ask Ivor if we have any further use for these creatures.
Well, they do not appear to be locked up, no?
No, they seem to be enjoying themselves.
It does not appear to be the prison that we are looking for, then. Unless these are the people that run the prison.
Prison, you say?
They can understand me?
What language were you talking in?
Common.
Oh yeah, they can understand you then.
All right.
They seem, for all intents and purposes, to be speaking common.
All right.
And so yes, prison, you say? So you know something more than you're letting on.
You didn't really ask us anything.
Well, there was an implied question in my line of questioning as to what purpose you had down here. You said only that you came down a hole. You said nothing about belonging down here. Yet it sounds as though you know very well why we are here. Why did you not say that to begin with?
You only asked how we got there.
Yes. You're not much of a conversationalist, are you?
Forgive us, my friends. We are here in order to complete a prisoner exchange. We have brought you one of these green people as a sacrifice.
A sacrifice? What a barbaric term. Was this arranged beforehand? Or are you intending to draw up terms of an exchange here?
Honestly, I was hoping that you could explain to us more about this than we know. For all we really know is that there is a prisoner exchange to happen here, and we were to bring a prisoner to exchange with you.
I see. Unfortunately, I cannot help you with that. None of us here can. That's not really our job. If you belong here, though, I can let you pass.
This to where?
Oh, to the, he drifts off. His eyebrows knit together. He looks a little confused. To the everywhere else, I suppose. I don't know that I have words for it. It is where the things are, where things happen. It might be better if you see for yourself. And he twists down and he grips the fence with his toes in his hands, and with his trunk he reaches over and he unlatches the gate from the rear side and swings it open. It opens inward, away from you. He then clambers back onto the fence with his trunk and completely ignores you. The one on the very far left starts doing this kind of half-laughing, half-crying thing and falls to the ground. The others pay no attention. It begins to shuffle toward you. It will try to squeeze past you all. It carries a faint scent of mushrooms about it.
Well, I don't make any move to stop him.
Will Ivor and Wendelorn allow the creature past?
Ivor will.
Yes, I'll let it pass.
Will Vesper allow it to pass? Vesper allows it to pass. It disappears down the tunnel, from time to time continuing its giggling / crying. Slash has nothing to do with it. Slash is here.
Can they see Slash?
They pay no mind to him if they can see him.
Historically, have people been able to see Slash? I don't recall.
Ordinary people have not, as far as you're aware. They haven't recognized his presence. And by ordinary people, I mean the abominations that eventually melted into nothing in the village. So, you know.
No. Well, approach the gate.
The creature closest to you kind of goes. You're not sure if it's toward you.
The one that was speaking to us?
Yeah.
To whom do we speak about a prisoner exchange?
The stops, and it turns toward you. You want Salky Esther, I suppose. I think it's his turn today.
Where might we find him?
1 second, I gotta write down the name that I just came up with.
There were a lot of letters in there.
He's the place where the prisoners go. Yeah, you'll know it when you see it.
The prisoners are beyond the gate.
No. Why would you put prisoners on the gate? Prisoners don't get recreation. No. You'll know them when you see the prison creatures. They had another name once, but I don't remember what they are. Will you leave me to my recreation? I'm going to have quite a hard time remembering. Doing much else but recreation, I suppose, until my recreation is done, and I can do what the thing that comes after that I can't remember. And he turns and he continues vigorously exercising.
And the gate's open now?
Yes.
One to learn you can do literally whatever you want with them.
I don't want to do anything with them.
Worm and Wendellorn pass through the gate.
Ebor will follow.
All right. And Slash will drift along. And Vesper, what will you do? Vesper scoots along. All right. What's that?
There had been mention of killing more innocent creatures.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you feel like doing that, I'm not going to stop you.
I didn't do it last time when you all were doing it.
I didn't do it.
Now it's your turn. I gotta make the new map now. So you come at last to I suppose it wasn't a tunnel. Past the fence, the cavern continued at more or less the same width, and you can hear the sounds of shuffling and slapping, mostly, is what it sounds like as you approach. And as you approach, there are kind of tiki torches set into little mounds of earth that are built up on the ground, each of which burn with a kind of purplish light. That kind of purple. And you see many more of the creatures when you come to this place. Just all over the place, you know, as they do. Now these creatures, they are not walking with their feet on the ground, as that one did as it walked past you. Instead, their trunks are planted firmly into the ground, and they are kind of leveraging themselves up on it, and just kind of like hovering above the ground. And they move by, it seems their trunk just kind of swims through the earth. It does not like break up the earth as they move. The earth is undisturbed as they pass, and their whole body just kind of follows behind the trunk. All of them do this. They move at a leisurely and a regal pace.
Well, that's disturbing.
They seem quite happy.
Well, what are these shapes?
The shapes are buildings. The squarish ones are ones of stone with mortar. The stone bricks, not stone bricks, I suppose that's kind of an oxymoron. Rectangular stones with mortar in between them, and the roundish ones look like they're packed clay walls, and the little sticks coming off them are doorways that have, they're actual doorways. They're just entrances with no doors,
Like mud huts.
more or less, but big. Now, let's see, where is it? Yeah, so this one has streaks of what look like dried blood all around it.
Sorry, which one? Oh, that one. I see the streaks now.
And coming from the entrance.
Oh no.
And there are, if you, I suppose you'll be able to see this one down here. He's the closest to what you think you could call a guard-looking guy so far. He holds a really, really big rock between both of his hands. The tendons on his hands and arms are standing out as though he's exerting incredible effort holding this giant rock that's bigger than his head. But he has a look of perfect calm on his face. Very occasionally, his head kind of twitches to look at something that you don't see. And he just kind of glares in that direction before kind of looking over his shoulder, which is a very strange sight considering he's oriented around his trunk. He has to pivot around the trunk to look over his shoulder. So it's not really looking over his shoulder. It's just looking behind him and then returning back to his original position. He looks almost like a coiling cobra as he does this.
Okay.
What do you do?
Wendorn.
Do they seem to care at all that we're standing there?
Not in the slightest.
Perhaps we should present
Hello.
the prisoner to them.
We don't know to which one.
I mean, we could just ask for directions, ask if anyone knows anything that could help us.
I'm going to approach this one. Does he notice me at all?
He notices as you approach. He swivels around to you. Says, hello. What business do you have with us? You smell of the earth. You seem like you belong down here, sir. It is the strangest thing. Though you clearly don't. You sully our sacred soil with your toes and your souls.
My apologies. It's the only option that we have.
Clearly, you are not blessed as we are. However, you are clearly on a mission of the gods, so I suppose you bless us rather than sullying us. I will choose to believe this.
We are indeed. We're looking for Sulky Esther.
Yes. It is his turn today. I will take you to him.
Thank you.
And he just trails off. And he comes down to the small building here. There is someone just kind of standing by the entrance. He may or may not be Selkie Esther. He is addressed as Selkie Esther, so he probably is. Selkie Esther, says the one who leads you. We have outsiders on a mission from the gods to visit you about an exchange of prisoners. Is the prisoner extant? Selkie Esther looks blankly at him. Says, Yes. He turns toward you. Of course, nothing will have changed with the prisoner. What are the terms and conditions of this exchange?
We'll give you this prisoner, and you give us that prisoner.
Indeed. Selkie Esther, I will leave them in your care. And he trails away. Selkie Esther turns toward you. I have never had an exchange of prisoners before. Is that really how it's done? You simply exchange one for the other? I was led to believe there'd be a lot more to it than that.
Oh, that's pretty much it.
Will my duties change at all? Was this revealed to you by the gods?
No.
Well, that seems far more convenient than I'd always thought it would be. You know, I've been dreading this moment for my entire life. I could have been living in peace and tranquility instead of dread and anxiety. That's a horrible, horrible feeling. Well, I will fetch the prisoner. Selkie Esther enters. He comes out a moment later with a donkey. I did not mean to turn him green.
Did he turn green from all of his anxieties fading?
Probably.
That's their natural color. Purple is a sign of their stress.
Yes. I like it.
So yes, he takes out a donkey. The donkey's eyes are bulging out. Its tongue is sticking out. Every hair on its body is standing on end. Every one of its tendons and muscles is stiff as stone. Stiff? Hard as stone? I don't know. It's a hard donkey. Absolutely rigid.
Absolutely rigid.
The donkey makes not a sound.
Is this the only prisoner you have on hand at the moment?
Where the prisoner is. Yes, there's only one in there. There is only one prisoner.
Very well, I suppose if this is not the prisoner we need, we can simply exchange him for a different one somewhere else. So, yes, I am fine with this.
There are other prisoners.
Well, that is the question I was asking you, but it sounds like there is not.
Well, he pats the donkey on its head. Well, how does this work?
I think we give you our prisoner and you give us yours, and then I think it's pretty much complete. That is what the term prisoner exchange at least says to me. I have never done one either.
Yes, but how do we get the prisoner out of the prisoner holder?
You do not know this.
The prisoner holder, which is the thing which holds the prisoner. He pats the donkey on the head again.
I see. Eivor does not say.
Is the donkey the prisoner, or is it the prisoner holder?
Yes, it is the prisoner holder.
Well, can we not take the prisoner holder?
No, we are doing an exchange of prisoners. You must put the new prisoner into the prisoner holder. That is how I do my job. How am I supposed to do my job if I do not have what holds the prisoner?
We will work on this. Slash, is there any way you could take a look inside and see if there's anything you can figure out?
Slash cracks his ghost knuckles and jumps into the donkey.
Hi-ho, Slash, away.
Dang it.
No, I mean, you didn't have to roll.
So he passes into the donkey, and there's a moment of silence, and then the donkey suddenly opens its mouth, its jaw unhinges, and a mass of very damp clothing and person starts just extruding from the donkey. Very, very slowly. Like we're talking like a couple centimeters a minute. The donkey's eyes continue just, bulging out. The tips of its ears very faintly quivering as this happens. The Salkiester dude, he looks disgusted. Completely disgusted at this.
We're just standing here for a very long time.
Yeah, unless you'd like to do something in the meantime, I suppose.
No, I think we'll just watch. It seems the polite thing to do.
All right, it's going to take about half an hour for this to happen.
No.
What are we supposed to hold the prisoner?
You put it into the prisoner holder. Do
We
you not
didn't bring
understand
it
the concept?
We didn't bring a prisoner holder with us. Do you have
No, there is one prisoner holder. That is what holds the prisoner. I take care of the prisoner holder. That is my job.
Okay, so we will put our prisoner in the prisoner holder, but what do we do with the prisoner that has now been taken out of the prisoner holder?
Yes.
That's your job, not my job.
Do you have any suggestions, maybe?
But
You seem to know a lot about whose job is which job for someone who doesn't know how a prisoner exchange works.
I've never done one before. I've only been trained for the eventuality, and this was the extent of my training.
I see.
You've been taking care of your own prisoner, and you tell me that I know more than you do. You seem to know much more about it than I do. Do with the new one what you did with the old one. You have it incapacitated in your arms. Just do that with this one.
I suppose he has a point.
We could always, yeah, we could always put Slash in there.
Time passes. The prisoner continues to be extruded.
So we're just watching uncomfortably.
I guess so, if you're not doing anything else.
But I mean, I don't know what the etiquette is.
Neither does Salkiester, it looks like. He's kind of occasionally twitching in disgust.
I mean, since he hasn't left, I'm just assuming that standing here and watching is the polite thing to do.
Well, if no one will do anything else, then half an hour will pass. And the prisoner will finally... I mean, it kind of like drooped down toward the ground as its mass exited. Eventually, it's just kind of like its legs that are passing through, and eventually it plops down onto the ground fully. And the donkey closes its mouth slowly, works its jaw a couple times. It seems happier now. Its hair is still standing on end. Slash is nowhere to be seen. On the ground is a small humanoid wearing billowy blue robes. It has a gigantic mass of hair plastered to its head. It's got, I don't know, hands and feet the proportions of like a dwarf or a hobbit. Halfling, whatever. It seems to be a small creature rather than a, like, young human, is what I'm trying to say.
So it does not resemble these creatures.
It does not, no. It is not moving.
It's breathing.
It is not moving. Would you like to investigate it to see if it's breathing?
To inspect it and check its vitals.
Please give me medicine. This creature is a probably a male dwarf. It's got a big ol' bushy red beard. Its eyelids are open. Its eyes are vacant. You at first think that it's dead because you don't hear a heartbeat. But then you finally hear one fluttery singular heartbeat. Can it flutter if there's only one of them? I don't think so. One heartbeat. You wait for a while longer, and a minute later there's another heartbeat. You're pretty sure that it's, in some sense of the word, alive.
There doesn't seem to be any immediate threat, so... How do we go about getting the guy, our prisoner, into the donkey?
Well,
Does it go in the other end?
Goodness, I hope not. How did you get this one out in the first place? How is it you know so much and so little?
I attempt to hand it over to...
He shrinks
What the
back.
hell is it?
No, I do not handle prisoners. Only the holders of the prisoners. It would be sacrilege of the darkest kind for me to touch the prisoners. I cannot
I hold it
defile
up.
them.
I hold it out to the donkey's face and try to... I mean, maybe it just comes naturally to it.
The donkey does not move.
Does anyone know how to get it in there?
Excuse me, would this not be your job as the one who keeps the prisoner holder?
No. No, not at all.
The former prisoner. The donkey.
No. The former prisoner was there long, long before I was born.
Who's even in there?
I don't know. It's the time before I was born. I don't know what amounts of time were before that. For all I know, there was no time before I was born.
Well, in that case, I'll attempt to kind of set him on the donkey like a rider and kind of pose him there.
Salkiester looks at it expectantly. Nothing happens. Does he just kind of get absorbed in eventually?
Give it time. It'll happen. I pat its head and walk away.
So, Ivor, the whole point of this was for us to get the prisoner, which we've got. We've given him the other prisoner. Why do we care if it ends up in the donkey?
Like I said, I believe this is. I apologize. Your names are foreign to me. Selkiester. I believe this is Selkiester's job, not ours. So I think our task is complete here.
We have our guy and they have their guy. So who's gonna carry him? He said, knowing the answer was Worm.
Don't you have a potato minion?
Says the orphan.
The potato is not a beast of burden.
Could it be so?
No.
What is it a beast of?
We don't know yet.
So you're saying it could be a beast of burden if you don't know yet?
She's awfully small. What are you doing? Why are you...
I'm trying to do stuff. It's not working.
It's an awfully small prisoner.
It's bigger than the orphan, though.
The mass of the prisoner is larger than the mass of the orphan.
Maybe the orphan has strength like ant and can lift many times its size.
Look at the orphan.
The orphan obediently trudges over.
The orphan has no visible arms.
This is correct. The orphan operates on VeggieTales logic. The orphan is going to try to lift.
How heavy or how much mass is the prisoner?
A good 200 pounds of muscle. The potato orphan is confused and cannot do anything.
I don't think Ivor could lift that if he tried.
The potato orphan sits down to contemplate its life.
Slash, do you want to try to...
Slash is nowhere to be seen.
Well, then I'll heft the dwarf up and onto my shoulders.
All right. Can you give me a strength check, please?
Oh, for God's sake.
Your back cracks a little as you lift the dwarf. You feel sudden sharp pain, and you can't stop yourself from dropping the dwarf. Please take 3 internal trauma damage.
3 spine damage. Now, the real question is, does a raging barbarian resist internal trauma damage?
That's the best kind of damage for a barbarian to resist. Barbarians function on
Ivor,
like...
where do we have to take the prisoner?
I don't believe we got to this yet.
Well, perhaps we should leave this place and consult with our friend. Perhaps
This makes sense to me.
Perhaps we should studiously ignore the hut covered in blood.
You see one of the creatures walking past, dripping blood from his feet.
Oh. What is the thing in the corner with all the
He's
teeth coming off of it?
if one of you happened to go in that direction and get an eyeful of it, I suppose Ivor could at the moment, you would see that it looks like finely crafted castle battlements with no door in them, just kind of protruding from the wall, rising up almost to the ceiling of the cavern. maybe 50 feet up. The one of the things that was walking by with the blood dripping from its feet, it has a gigantic hunk of very raw meat between its hands that it's gnawing on happily.
Would any of you care to investigate that direction?
I suppose I could take a look.
I'll go with him.
And we'll head off that way.
I'll go as well if Vesper would like to sit here and guard the prisoner. Vesper, try not to set fire to anything.
Alternatively, set fire to everything.
Please try not to, at least until we're about to leave. Vesper seems a little too agreeable. I am certain everything will be.
Oh, Vesper, are you still under the influence of the moss back there? I'll take that as a yes.
Vesper looks menacing. So, to which place are you guys going?
Well, we'll follow Windorn whichever direction he goes. Potato, you stay here and watch Vesper. Vesper, watch the prisoner.
Layout, says Potato.
So are we going to the bloody hut or to the thing with the castle battlements?
That's your choice.
I suppose...
Bloody hut it is.
Yes, indeed. Agreed.
So by the bloody hut, there are people standing on either side of the entrance to it. They have tiny little hats on their head of pure white muslin, I suppose is what it looks like, just kind of wrapped around their very bald foreheads. They carry nothing in their hands. They put their hands together in a gesture of who knows what it is with these creatures, and look at you, and they make little bowing motions, which means that their trunk stays in the ground while their body leverage is up. It looks weird.
So you're saying this place features both elephant trunks and turbans?
I suppose that wasn't my intention, but we'll go with it. This is Duncan's homeland. His village.
We discovered the Loxodon in this area.
Well, they do have the little tusks. I was thinking of them more like orc, teeth, but which I guess are tusks. These are the Loxodon now. These are the Oh, please no! This world is not ready for Trunk.
So are we entering into the origin story for Duncan?
Gosh, I hope so.
So these two, they do that sort of not really bow thing, and they say with what was clearly intended to be one voice, but one of them is a little bit slower than the other. Greetings. You are come to feed. It is the time. Let your hungers be sated. Let the will of the gods be done. Let all who are dead rise. Let all who hunger feed. Let no more things come to the surface of the earth.
I am pretty full. I just had some delicious roasted moss, but Lauren, are you at all hungry?
Do you all have any brains?
They look toward each other in apparent perplexity. They both start speaking, and they aren't speaking the same thing, so one of them quickly shuts up. The other says, this request cannot be... He breaks off. I'm sorry, did you say brains? Brains?
Yes, brains.
One does not eat brains.
Oh, this one does.
No, we have no brains. Do you not
Oh.
know where you stand?
How do you speak to us if you have no brains?
He seems utterly taken aback. My brains are in my head. They are not for eating. They are for thinking. They make us rational, unlike the rocks and the moss.
So you have brains, you're just not willing to share.
I am sorry if I offend. It is not our way to share our brains. We ask
Gods
that
have
you
sent us-
abide by this.
The gods have sent us here. If the gods will it that your brain shall be eaten, then your brain shall be eaten.
Did the gods will that we share our brains?
Well,
See.
the gods willed that this man would be very hungry for brains, so you can take that as you will.
The gods have willed many desires that may not be fulfilled. This is the basis of piety. Count yourself lucky that you have such opportunity for piety, sir. Would that I did. All of my desires have been fulfilled.
You see, piety tends to take the form of me just killing things in my path to help assist my god.
That is admirable.
I believe what we're saying is
I
find some brains for our friend, and I shall partake of the meat. Thank you very much.
They step aside to let you pass. Within here, there are a half dozen of the creatures. And there is a colossal thigh bone with meat pulsating upon it. These creatures are hacking at the meat with sharp stones that they hold in their hands, ripping it away and throwing it in heaps beside them. The meat is quickly regenerating. Blood pours from the grisly wounds that they create through the door and around your feet. The smell in here is absolutely putrid.
Does it smell like meat?
Yes. The one of the creatures sees you. He does the sort of bow thing. He puts down his stone, and he picks up a slab of meat and proffers it to you with both hands. Partake and be nutrified, he says.
Literally never seen anything more delicious, and I take it.
It squirms in your hands,
Oh,
and it emits a steady stream of blood. It's kind of nasty. Frankly, I should be ashamed of myself.
does there appear to be any place to cook this?
You have seen no fire aside from the tiny tiki torches that have been spread around everywhere. And you, of course, remember the one creature walking by just kind of gnawing on raw meat.
Did you make any progress on the brain front?
The one outside says, "Oh, is there an understanding between us that I would procure the brains of a creature? I believe I misunderstood you.
It is the will of the gods that you shall procure brains.
And what evidence do you have of that?"
Evidence?
Yes, your presence is certainly evidence of the will of the gods of your presence, but how can you provide evidence of the will of the gods for a thing that has not come to pass?
That shows a disturbing lack of faith.
We may mean different things, I suppose, when we say it. Would you like a theology lesson? That'll be my job tomorrow.
Worm has left.
Goodbye. Feast well.
You have offended my friend deeply.
I am terribly sorry. There seems to be a communication barrier between us.
I think that is correct, yes. I will go console him.
May your piety continue in its viciousness and effectiveness, sir.
Lovely.
Lord, if you want to procure your own brain over there, you're welcome to.
I'm pretty sure we just ate fish brains a little while ago, so.
Yeah, but they were tiny little things. They're like jelly beans to you.
Vesper, would you mind just toasting this lightly? At least so it stops squirming.
Do you just kind of drop it on the ground and point to it?
No, I say exactly that.
Yeah, I mean, like, are you expecting it to get toasted while you're holding it?
No. Vesper, I need you to cook/kill this.
Don't cook Slash. He's been through enough.
Don't cook. No. We don't have any frying pans or anything, do we?
I don't know. That's a good question. Do any of you have shields?
My characters usually have shields. Do
Anyone have a shovel? Do you see Vesper's text?
So.
I didn't do anything. It was like this when I got it. I put it on the end of my crowbar like a shish kebab.
There's a very tiny squeal as you impale it.
Oh no.
All right. Do you just firebolts it?
Don't use a spell slot on this.
I really hope it just explodes.
Can you please make me... are you going to do it in melee, or would you like to do it at range? If you're going to do it in melee, I need you to make it an attack roll at disadvantage. Otherwise, if you're going to do it at range, you can just make a regular attack roll. All right.
I hold the crowbar aloft and she just blasts it. Oh no.
Vesper snipes the meat with a fireball. Good grief. And burns it to absolute cinders.
Burning is my preferred cooking method.
Cinders dribble down onto your head, worm. There is no meat.
Oh. That's the biggest disappointment of my day. Thanks, Vesper.
That was an impressive amount of fire damage.
Well, at the loss of my steak, I'm just going to sit down and sketch for a while.
To be fair, there was plenty more where that came from.
No, now I'm too depressed.
Ivor takes out his painter supplies and just quickly sketches just the scene before him of Worm holding out food on a crowbar and Vesper blasting it to bits.
Excellent.
I will be this later.
I expect, Stephanie, that you will in fact draw that scene and share it with us.
I couldn't do it justice. This needs like a Renaissance painting. It covers an entire wall.
Well, what do you do now? There is still no sign of Slash. The goblin is still unconscious and not absorbed into the donkey. Salkiester is just kind of standing there looking depressed.
Has anyone tried
Would we
lighting
even
the Slash?
Slash?
I'm sorry, I couldn't make out what either of you were saying.
Mine was just a joke, so ignore me.
Ah.
I was asking whether or not we'd even noticed that Slash was gone.
That's a good question. Can I get perception from everyone?
Ooh, Ivor's very good perception.
I believe I tried to speak with him and he wasn't there.
Yeah, Worm noticed. I don't know if Worm would have said anything to anyone else. Ivor does not notice. Vesper does.
I know nobody saw him leave.
Wendelorn did not notice. Because, Slash does whatever. Him being gone doesn't usually mean something's wrong.
I only notice him when we need him.
So, yeah, Worm and Vesper are aware.
Ivor is clueless. That's like one of his constant states of being, but I figured I'd specify anyways.
Understandable.
Worm's gonna pull himself to his feet, and can he try again to pick up the dwarf, or has that ship sailed?
Yes, he certainly can. Strength roll, please. He heaves the dwarf up over his shoulder. He staggers under the weight, but, he can carry it. The dwarf is not awake either, and the slime that was covering the dwarf is kind of hardened to a glassy consistency.
Channeling all my disappointment into strength.
That's the way to do it. You're not going to be able to move very fast carrying him. You'll be at half speed.
I'll very slowly make my way back the direction that we came. Unless somebody wants to go somewhere else. There are teeth up there.
They're battlements, which I suppose are a kind of teeth. I didn't put the teeth there. I mean, I put the real teeth there. I didn't label them.
Didn't know we could label things.
Neither did I. Yes.
I thought the battlements looked like teeth, so I labeled it.
It's understandable.
It's a toothy maw.
I assume that this is a vague representation of the map that Ivor is making.
Yes, quite. He is proficient with painter's supplies, but I never said he was good at art. Like drawing an accurate,
he just knows how to use the supplies.
He sketches things down. Yeah, he's a very quick sketch. Just like threw it together. This is the map. Oh, he's not proficient in cartography. There you go.
Yep. Well, what will you guys do?
What are you supposed to do with the prisoner now, Ivor?
I believe this is a question we should ask our dear friend. You are our friend.
And what orifice is he going to have this time?
This is a good question, but I am not sure that we should ask it in the presence of our other friends.
Worm feels sad.
Worm is very sadly making his way this direction.
The potato orphan is trailing behind. The potato orphan will try to help carry. The potato orphan will try to grab the head.
With what?
With its hands. It'll kind of carry the club over its shoulder, I suppose. Its hands canonically exist, I suppose. They're just hidden behind the wrappings.
Just kind of come out as needed.
It has the power of Hans.
Indeed. Yeah, the potato orphan isn't helping, sorry.
It's alright, she's trying.
Bullshit, it says sadly.
She's picked up on my sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Worm disappears down the passage.
All right. Vesper, do you follow along? All right. Well, you all meander down the passage and eventually come back to the fence. Everyone is still, no, there's one fewer now creature on the fence. The one who spoke to you initially is still there. The fence is closed and latched, but from your side.
We've made our prisoner exchange.
Oh, good for you, he says.
Yeah, it's good for us.
I suppose you belonged in some sense after all. Once you have your sense of belonging, then everything will be right. I am glad you found yours.
Yeah. Yeah. Can we get out, please?
Yes. He does nothing. Yes, you may.
Can you open the gate, please?
If you are too lazy to do it yourself, then I will. And he kind of vaults himself over and opens the gate for you.
Because I assume there was some kind of lock.
Everyone in there were obsessed about doing their jobs and whose jobs is whose. I assumed it was your job to get the gate. Apologies.
No, I don't have a job right now. I just thought it would be a kindness. I am in recreation now. But I always like to be handy when I can, even if I'm not working.
What is normally your job?
Well, yesterday I was tending to the clothes. That was my job. A purpose is a malleable thing, though. I can't tell you what I'll do tomorrow.
I have always only ever had one purpose.
How dreadful. What is your purpose?
Piety.
Oh, that is a very strange way to say it, I suppose. Are you making a funny?
No, this is. I was trying to. Well, there were some communication issues in there about describing various things. I tried to pick a term that we heard in there to make sure that you guys all understood. I suppose I did it poorly.
I think the way we think of it is piety is the purpose done well. To have the piety as the purpose seems a little perverted to me. But then, if, as you say, communication, perhaps you meant something different by it.
Well, if it helps, it typically takes the form of me killing anything in the path of my god.
That is a purpose with which I am familiar. If you find it fulfilling, then that is all there is to it. He loses interest and goes back to vigorously exercising.
Fair enough.
How do you tell when one day is over and the next day has begun down here?
It is the purpose of someone else to tell me when the divisions of time are past. It has never been my purpose. It's never been my work. I don't envy it. It seems like an arbitrary and pointless task, to be perfectly fair.
Okay. Do you have any way to get back out of here? We came down a hole, and we're not sure.
You know it better than I. I had no idea there was a hole down here. As I said, it was the goal of the younger ones. It is usually the purpose we assign to them is to fill up the holes in the ways that people come down. As the people coming down is not a thing we like to deal with very much. So no, I cannot tell you. I can help in no way.
Just to be any way for people to get down here?
No, that is not ideal. We do not tolerate it.
And how do you get prisoners?
We don't get prisoners. We have the prisoner. It is our prisoner.
Okay. I think we should go.
Yes, I think you should. He does a little trunk pirouette.
So I suppose we head back toward the hole.
All right. And you make your way through the tunnels. The moss has not like supernaturally grown back really fast or anything.
That's
You get to the main room here with all the barrels in it. And you can continue through the tunnels back to the shore of the little pond.
Now that I saw their magic in there and how they managed to squeeze this prisoner inside of what appeared to be a donkey, I would not be surprised if these barrels were full of, well, perhaps not prisoners in such a term, but prisoners in effect. There were some communication issues in there. I am starting to wonder if prisoner means something very specific to them, but they still keep some people trapped like this.
maybe that's how they're born.
That is disturbing, but possible.
Those are like pods that they form in.
Like eggs, but barrels.
Yes, egg barrels. We should take one with us for further study.
It would
And a
make a
pasta.
very bear babies. It would make very large omelet. I mean, or we could study it, but just a random thought.
Anybody opposed to attempting to bring a barrel with us?
They appear to be very heavy, and I would be of no use lifting them, but I still am considering it.
You hear the sounds of screaming in the distance,
In which
Oh,
direction?
back through the tunnels.
Does it sound like a goblin screaming, or does it sound like weird alien voices?
It sounds like the weird alien voices.
Perhaps we
lots of
should
them.
leave with haste. The barrels will have to remain here.
Back there.
I do not know if they are screaming in terror or if they are all chasing us, so I think it is wise if we leave.
Well, if you know how to get back up the hole, please lead us.
Well, I assume we'll walk in that, or perhaps more hastily move in that direction. If anyone-
We're on the shore.
Oh, I thought we were still in the room with the barrels. My bad.
Onto the shore.
The bone serpent comes out of the dwarf's ear. Says, well done. You did a thing that I needed you to do. Good job.
Get in there.
I am all places when I need to be. Life has many doors.
Did you think that was going to be really profound? I try to look as if I've just heard something really profound, so he feels better.
Well, he seems satisfied. There's, yes, an interesting way of going about it, I suppose. Well, are you planning on retrieving the last of your party, or do you plan on leaving him behind? As the ghostly one?
Do you have any idea in which direction he may have wandered?
There is Slash. I did not realize all this time.
You traded him for this prisoner. Were
I
you
thought
not
we
aware
did.
that is what you were doing?
No, I thought the goblin was the prisoner that we traded.
Well, the ghost is the one who ended up inside the donkey. So there's that.
It appears that the people in there were not even aware of this.
No, they are absolute fools. I created them to be such, so they would not rise against the gods.
Well, I suppose we should go back for him then. Do you know what all that screaming is about?
I am afraid I have no idea. I may be able to be all places, but that excludes over there while I'm over here.
Would you mind terribly going over there? And
I would mind terribly. I can only be in all places if you are in all places. However, I can help you to go all places. Does that make sense?
No.
Your mind is small.
It's small. Are you sure?
Yes, I am very sure your mind is small.
Wow.
I have seen many larger minds.
Okay.
Hundreds of thousands. In
you.
the bodies of horses and snakes and
Okay.
rats.
You're good. Thank you.
And also, did you not desire to take care of the soul of that god who has been annoying you while you were down here? That is, well, the body of it is the thing that I built their entire society around. You won't want to run away. You won't want to go back up. We need to go deeper in.
I see. I misunderstood the situation then. Yes, we shall go back.
Yes, that is because I did not tell you. I thought it would be too much information to process at once.
That is what I was implying, but in a more polite way, yes.
That is unnecessary.
I see.
There is a precise ritual which we must perform if we wish to get into the body of the thing. But first, we will probably want to deal with whatever is causing that unholy racket.
Well, while you are here, I have a question for you.
Yes.
These barrels, what are they?
I am not entirely sure. This is an invention of their own. Not anything I programmed into them. Which disconcerts me a little. I did not intend them to develop any further beyond their conception.
Yes, if they were designed to be fools, but they have invented something that is surprising indeed. And it makes the situation all the more disturbing.
Perhaps you should be on your guard. I was not able to sense everything that transpired when you were among them, but I am hoping they have not devised ways of hiding information from me in the event that I returned among them. They consider me, in total, the gods. The way they were speaking of the gods is not exactly the way I intended them to. It seems that they have created philosophies and methods of rationality which are perhaps heavily flawed and very dangerous.
Are these beer babies?
I do not know what that means.
Are they reproducing by means of these barrels?
Goodness, I hope not.
Another question for you. While we have you here, I'm sorry for the number of questions that I bring up, but why trunks?
I couldn't tell you. It seemed a good idea at the time.
Yeah, fair enough. Just curious if there was a higher...
I think I intended them to use all four of their limbs and desired a way for them to adhere to any surface.
I see. Back on the barrels, if they are unintended and potentially dangerous, should we destroy them?
So long as they were not set up as traps for any agents of mine who might come down among them. Then yes. I think that would be a very fun and very good idea.
We could douse them all with oil and then just burn them from a distance, perhaps.
Oh, goodness, you'd probably asphyxiate.
Well,
Can you
that's a good point.
asphyxiate? I don't think you can asphyxiate.
I am not certain, but We seem to be okay with the burning of the moss earlier.
Yeah, then you should be fine. Well,
Meanwhile,
off I
Ghost-
go, he says, and slurps back in.
Well,
Into the
we are
door.
about to make a very large omelet.
Perhaps we should go investigate the screaming first.
The screaming is considerably quieter now, just because it's comprised of many fewer voices.
If these things are, if they have deviated from their intended path, perhaps the screaming is simply something they do out of habit at a certain time.
Perhaps the screaming and the dwindling of such screaming is a problem solving itself.
Perhaps.
We should wait a few minutes and then go look.
Self-fulfilling genocide.
We didn't technically cause it, so. They have
I
just
mean, we burn the barrels in the meantime.
I worry about blocking our only means of leaving.
But we do not want to leave. We want to go deeper.
Leave eventually.
Fair point. I mean,
Perhaps
do you
we
have
should
a
move
way?
one of the barrels.
Do you have a way to climb back out of this pit?
I do not.
Or do any of us?
Not that I know of.
Slash could just levitate out if he was here.
What if the screaming is because Lash is on a rampage inside the body of a donkey?
I'd want to see that.
I kind of would as well.
Perhaps we should go and look. And then later we'll take one of the barrels and destroy it under more controlled circumstances than a raging inferno in a small room.
Okay.
Poor E4. So I very slowly turn around and make my way back.
Only some chaos, just a little bit.
Does anybody not want to go back?
No, I'm good with going back.
All right. Is that a goat?
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes, that is Togue the Unstoppable.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
He stopped.
Are you guys going to stealth down, or are you just going to kind of swagger?
Feel any threat, so I'm not going to attempt to stealth.
Ivor would start to stealth, but if there are party members not stealthing, he would stop.
Okay.
He enters his Skyrim stealth stance, just like crouches back, sees no one else does, and just gets back up.
Crouching down 6 inches. All right, then you make
I
your
don't
way back.
think Gwendolyn would see any reason to stealth.
Okay. Potato Orphan will not stealth either.
Okay.
I assume Vesper is not going to stealth either. As you make your way back, and the fence is bare. The gate is closed, but frankly, you can just reach your hand through and unlock the gate. You do so.
You know, I was going to ask why Slash's icon was over the donkey or under the donkey, and I just kind of assumed it was stuck there for no good reason.
Well, that
Because
also. So when you get back to the town sort of place, the village, you see the slaughtered corpses of many of the creatures just kind of lying on the ground. And you see, streaking at incredible speed, a cockroach man wearing the skin of a goblin as a vest. And then we are going to end for the day.
I can't help but feel partially responsible and not guilty at all.
What? What happened to save all the goblins? Don't kill any. They're innocent.
Really annoying.
Fair enough.
They come with them the disappointment of a ruined steak.
This is the character development Worm has had after seeing Igor as his emperor for a short time.
Lovely. Well, thank you guys for playing.
Thank you for hosting. It was fun.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. We will, I think, reconvene next week. I don't have any reason on my end that we won't.
We'll come back and find Diego